it's just you and me again. I've caught and named every jellyfish in this field at least once. Except you, No Name.
Ahoy, mateys, and welcome to another episode of I'm Ready, a SpongeBob SquareCast. My name is Captain Eric, and we are continuing our sail through the second season of SpongeBob SquarePants. Today's episode is Jellyfish Hunter. It is the first half of the 39th episode of SpongeBob SquarePants, first premiering on September 28th, 2001, and was written by Walt Dorn, Paul Tibbitt, and Mark O'Hare. This episode is interesting in a lot of ways because we get to actually see a little bit more about SpongeBob and his hobby, something that has just kind of been relegated to certain, other plot points in episodes, and we don't really get to see SpongeBob as the hobbyist very often. We see him jellyfish, but it's different from understanding why he jellyfishes or even his methodology of what is he doing while he's jellyfishing, his process. It's nice to see that, he names every jellyfish he catches. It's nice to see him have a goal, that he's not only caught in every jellyfish in this field once, but not only twice over, and that he's still hunting for this one elusive blue jellyfish. That's right. We have this blue jellyfish make his debut in this episode. This jellyfish that was known as No Name. It was the one jellyfish that SpongeBob has just been unable to catch. And this jellyfish, for some reason, seems to be at a different intelligence level than every other jellyfish. Not only is it rare in color, but it's just rare in attitude and intelligence. It is a special jellyfish that has got a bit of sass with SpongeBob, and I think they have a little playful rivalry. I think No Name, wants to kind of be caught. I think he likes the challenge that SpongeBob brings, and I think he respects that. And at the same time, I think SpongeBob respects that as too. Simply put, that even after he misses No Name yet again, and he's just swimming away, SpongeBob has got a massive grin on his face and even says to himself, one of these days I'm gonna catch old No Name. It's a nice goal to see. He doesn't get upset with himself. He doesn't pout or be angry or mad. He's just stoked, he had another opportunity to catch him, and just knows, if I keep cracking at it, I will eventually catch this jellyfish. Now, although jellyfishing is important to this beginning part of the episode, and it is, of course, central to the plot, it's not any bit of what we're following in SpongeBob's day-to-day life. Pretty much after this sequence, we follow SpongeBob onto his day at work, and eventually we get to see SpongeBob on his break. We don't really get to see this really ever, and so this is kind of a rare moment. And just note that it is also only a 5-minute break, which is probably barely a smoke break for most people. SpongeBob does something here. We don't get to see him on break very often, but we've never seen him do this. He has not only cooked himself a Krabby Patty, but he brought with himself some jellyfish jelly that he adds onto the Krabby Patty, and apparently it is absolutely delicious, because not only does SpongeBob find it so delicious, we hear the way he's eating the Krabby Patty. We can tell as the audience that there's just, that jelly is just something else, on top of the fact that the Krabby Patty is apparently already an addicting burger. A customer looks over and sees SpongeBob really enjoying this burger and asks SpongeBob, what is on the burger, to which he replies, jellyfish jelly. After the customer tries this burger, we get the classic song and dance of hey, all you people, you have to try this wonderful sandwich of jellyfish jelly on a Krabby Patty. The entire restaurant gets to now try this concoction, which is apparently a massive hit, and it reminded me of the time in the Good Burger movie when Ed's sauce was kind of unleashed onto the world and just became this massive deal. The Good Burger was already a good burger, and then the sauce was just apparently something else that just added something on top of that made it such a big deal. And here we have the same effect, where everybody is enjoying jellyfish jelly on their Krabby Patties. Mr. Krabs at first is bothered by this, about tampering with the recipe. Now, to me, the recipe would be whatever the meat is, or anything else. Like, I don't think the, Krabby Patty, because then you're doing a Krabby Patty with cheese. Hey, you're adding cheese on top of it. Well, then why can't you just add jellyfish jelly? He concedes when he sees, obviously, how much people love it and that they're going to give him a lot of money. Mr. Krabs immediately turns this into an opportunity in which he enlists SpongeBob's help in catching more jellyfish for him so that we can make more jelly, so that we can add jelly onto the Krusty Krab menu and then supply the demand of the customers. SpongeBob goes on a jelly fishing spree. We get this montage of Mr. Krabs constantly asking for more jellyfish. We of course get one of these still shots, the more Krabs, as he's known online, the very famous internet meme of just the really gross looking Mr. Krabs, if you kind of still shot it during there. Now, in the beginning of this episode, when we see the jellyfish field sign, we are told that there is roughly a population of 4 million jellyfish in this field. By the time this sequence is over of SpongeBob catching jellyfish, we now look at the sign and see that it has been written with a big ol' fat 0. So, as us, the audience, we're supposed to be told that SpongeBob has caught around 4 million jellyfish in whatever amount of time it's been since jelly was introduced on the menu at the Krusty Krab. Now, it's very weird that SpongeBob forgot about No Name, since he is a pretty significant part of SpongeBob's jellyfishing life, and in that desire to capture him, you would think he would know, hey, there's at least one jellyfish I haven't captured out there, but he seems to forget. We get this funny joke about him being followed by No Name very late at night when SpongeBob discovers, hey, there must be no more jellyfish, I'm going to go home. He feels like he's being followed and stops, and when you really don't know what he's going to yell, but he goes, it feels like someone is trying to sell me something. And there's this pause of nothing. SpongeBob goes, I must have been wrong. Continues on. But when we were shown behind a rock that there was actually 2 salesmen that were on top of him, possibly trying to sell him what they were trying to sell late at night. It's beyond me. I don't understand some of the undersea world. It works a lot different than things on land. But any potential businessmen out there stalking someone at night, even if your product is a home run, probably not a good look. You're going to get a lot of no's if you start asking people late at night, walking up with them with a briefcase. It's not a good look. Don't do it. We eventually get SpongeBob home, and what follows is reminiscent of a few scary movies that I've seen. I mean, things kind of like Scream movies, like when a stranger calls, somebody picking up the phone and just hearing heavy breathing, and then the lights are cut. Somebody is after SpongeBob, and it is, of course, old No Name. No Name is able to capture SpongeBob himself and brings him off to a new factory in town. SpongeBob even says as such that, like, this doesn't look familiar. I've never seen this before. What is this place, basically? What is inside is it's really tough to say. Now, there have been some very disturbing SpongeBob moments throughout the show's run. I think a lot of those moments come from design, the way design elements are handled. Thinking of episodes like The Splinter, or the episode where SpongeBob and Patrick have their faces freeze. Things like that, just like for something to purposely look disgusting, I think those are low points. But in terms of content, I feel like this is one of the most disturbing moments of SpongeBob history. It is literally a factory designed to get as much of the jelly out of jellyfish, to the point that it seems like when there's no more jelly, these jellyfish are kind of thrown away. I don't know if that means that those jellyfish are just kind of gone, or if they have to refill, or what goes on with them, if they're okay, but it is certainly not a good look, and especially when it comes to reveal the obvious, that Mr. Krabs is behind this whole factory. Now, the one part of this that to me is just redeeming, in a sense of just not being like completely disgusted, is the fact that Mr. Krabs is so cheap that he's not willing to pay for the electricity of having a factory and having this kind of money come in. Like, he's willing to peddle a exercise bike to power the entire factory because he just does not want to pay a single cent of having it run. That is a funny idea. Like, that idea is absolutely hilarious. But this is a low point for Mr. Krabs. This is a very disgusting moment. Nothing that like ruins the character. I'm not talking about like canceling the character of anything, but you know, when you look alongside a character's journey, and here we have a character that, although he is beloved, his number one trait is a very negative trait, being greedy. Being greedy, you know, is not really a positive thing. I'm not saying that you have to be the opposite of just throwing away money and wealth, but it's okay to strive for success. But when you're pinching pennies to the point that it is hurting others and you know, not paying just dues. I mean, Squidward and SpongeBob are very underpaid. Now it is their own fault to remain at their jobs. Honest, you know, people run with that narrative. I don't know what the money laws are concerned for underwater. It seems like there aren't none. Mr. Krabs' wages that he gives them fluctuates from season to season, and from the times we have heard about it, it is certainly not anything I would constitute as legal. But once again, who knows how they run things underwater? Bottom line is, this is just a very poor look on Mr. Krabs, and I think even though by the end he gets his comeuppance and decides that he doesn't want to even have jelly on the menu anymore, I think the fact that he got to this point is a little rough, but I don't think it's anything to like sour on Mr. Krabs over. It's a moment where he did something really in poor thought, and you know what? To his credit, he never tried it again. He got out of it just as quickly as he got into it, and thankfully, all the jellyfish were rescued because of SpongeBob and the efforts of No Name, who of which was so gracious of SpongeBob's help that he allowed SpongeBob to catch him, and then he received his official name of friend, and they share a nice little handshake there to end the episode. It's a nice little end of this episode, and it is certainly an episode that carries a lot of messages to it. They're putting that thought of when business and just capitalism goes off the rails to kids. And I think that is an important thing to talk about. I mean, especially when kids are young, we're explaining a lot of just society and how things work. And I think if we're going to explain the idea of business and success and earning money, we should always show the negatives alongside of that, including the bad things that can go wrong, and also the people who take that level of success to an extreme that, like I said, once it becomes a negative to another person just for the benefit of extra money, then it's not really successful in my opinion anymore. And that is a whole can of worms that I'm not going to open up here. But like I said, it's certainly a topic that I think should be shown to kids like this. You know, Mr. Krabs didn't need to go off the rails with this jellyfish empire. I can't imagine there was, I mean, they had 4 million jellyfish. There was enough jelly to go around for everybody. It just sounds like he was so into this new concept, he wanted to slam on the gas and not really take it at an easy pace. But in the end, he shut down the factory. All the jellyfish were rescued, as far as I know. The ones who were used in the barrels, hopefully they made it through, and no jellyfish walked away with any lasting damages. But on the topic of jelly on a burger, I have not tried this concept, but I think I'm willing to do so. Honestly, in thought, just thinking about, hey, would this work? I think it would make a great video on YouTube. So I think as a jumping off point of this episode, I think it would be fair to have 3 different burgers and 3 different kinds of jelly, just to see if there's kind of a magical combination there where it works. Hey, if you have tried jelly on a burger of some sort, now it seemed SpongeBob's burger was just bun, patty, jelly, bun, and that's the way I think is like, that's the jelly patty right there. I feel like when you start adding like lettuce, tomato, That's because really the one concern with this that you have to worry about, you don't have to worry about the jelly not tasting well with the bun. That's going to be good. The jelly and the meat. How is that? I mean, I guess people have like lamb with mint jelly, which, by the way, I bought a can of mint jelly once just out of the site. I was just in a moment where I was like, that's really interesting. I'm going to buy that. And I made a peanut butter and mint jelly sandwich. Don't do that. Warning for you. Don't ever try that. Like, even if you really like mint, like I love mint, don't ever do that. It's not good at all. And I'm not going to make a video about doing a peanut butter and mint jelly sandwich. I never again will taste that. But I'm willing to try to see if there can be something found here with jelly on a hamburger. Sound off. Let me know if you have ever experienced that and how does it taste. What are your thoughts? But this is just a nice episode from beginning to end. Even with the negativity I think it can bring onto Mr. Krabs, he doesn't have too many dark moments like this, and usually his greed is done in a way that we kind of can laugh at it and still understand that it is greedy, and that's why he's a beloved character. So don't take anything I'm saying about him as like anti-capital. Don't even start with any of that. Like I said, I am all for one's personal success. Reach for whatever stars you want to reach for. But the second you have to step on somebody, to reach one of those stars, is it really worth reaching in the first place? I'm sure a lot of people reaching for that star at that point are like, yeah, buddy, I mean, I know what I'm doing, but... And that, my friends, is Jellyfish Hunter. It's certainly a fun episode from Season 2. I don't think it's one that really hits top 10 for me. There are some funny jokes and a lot of funny visual gags in this episode. Certainly worth a watch. But I think it's one that really probably would land in the middle of the season for me. Now, we are coming up to the end of the season, so I do kind of have to start thinking about where these episodes are going to end up, because just like at the end of Season 1, I'm going to have not only an audio but a video episode ranking all of the Season 2 episodes. And kind of the same deal with Season 1. Whatever episode lands at the bottom is still like in my top 50, top 100 episodes of SpongeBob SquarePants. Like, every episode here is pretty much gold. But, hey, there's some like this one that it's just probably in terms of the jokes didn't make me laugh as much of other episodes. And, especially now just going through and watching the Jellyfish Factory, it's like just as disturbing as when I was as a kid, where I was like, all right, you have like, especially the one jellyfish that's getting rolled over with a rolling pin. Like, they have jellyfish getting tickled and the jelly coming out, and then there's just this poor jellyfish getting just barrel rolled over. Like, so unfair. It's so unnecessary. I don't know. Like that's the kind of stuff that probably holds me back from liking the jokes in the episode a bit more, but I do love this episode. I absolutely do. So let me know what you think about this episode in the comments below. Thank you for listening to the Squarecast. If you are a fan of the work I create, I truly appreciate you. And if there is any way, shape, or form that goes beyond you listening to this episode that you feel helps me out in any way, I appreciate you. Thank you for being a part of the Ready Crew. That is this week for the SpongePod Squarecast. Thank you for listening. We will see you here next week with another episode, and stay safe out there, everybody.
Amazing. I've got to tell someone about this.
Magic Conch, will I ever get to meet Tom Kenny?
Maybe someday.
Oh, so you're saying there's a chance. Okay. Should I tell fans of the show how they can support us?
Yes.
Goofy Goobers, supporting the show is shockingly easier than catching a blue jellyfish. Right from our anchor page, anchor.fm/SpongePod, you can find links to all of our social media and a support button if you happen to have a few extra clams. Also follow us on twitch.tv/SpongeBobPodcast, where it's not only the official home to our sister show, Video Bob Game Pants, it's also where I stream live drawings of various Nickelodeon characters and host the opportunity for commissions and giveaways. Lastly, the official merchandise store is now open at redbubble.com/people/SpongePod, where various designs will be uploaded inspired by our show, including our official logo, which is now available on a multitude of products like t-shirts, stickers, duvet covers, and even a shower curtain. This is a podcast by a fan for fans and will always be fan-driven. Any way you see fit on supporting our show is much appreciated. Thank you and enjoy.